How are all of you lovely people doing today? My name is John and welcome to a beautiful zombies commentary. Today what I would like to do is discuss Der Eisendrache and its story, because the map dropped yesterday and along with the map came a lot of information about the storyline. One thing people have discussed is this idea of the Frozen One and who his identity may be. A lot of people have tweeted at me and left comments suggesting that Tank could be the Frozen One, and I've also seen many videos discussing this idea, and I want to sort of give my opinion and suggest that maybe we're jumping the gun a tad bit, especially when we consider that there's a lot of ciphers to crack as well as an entire Easter egg to complete. Let's look at the evidence though. We're going to first need to start off at the Giant in order to fully tackle this problem. That's why I have some Giant gameplay. Within the Giant, you can find a cipher. Well, not really a cipher, actually a barcode. This barcode can be scanned and it will give you the message, the mountain must be searched for the Frozen One. Remember, we discovered this message before we even knew what DLC 1 would be. We also found a message in Shadows of Evil that left us with coordinates that left it to Werfen, Austria. Werfen, Austria happens to be the location of Der Eisendrache, so this is what leads people to believe that Der Eisendrache must be where the Frozen One is. Of course, this is a very snowy map. There's mountains everywhere. If there's gonna be a Frozen One, this is the place to look. So that's where people start to think there has to be a Frozen One here. And the intro cinematic starts us off with Tank Dempsey. Tank is frozen, sort of say. I mean, we don't know the nature of these pods, but in a sense, he's frozen in cryogenic slumber, we believe. He's unconscious. That's the safest way to describe his current state. He could be frozen. It could also be some kind of other mechanism. We don't know the nature of it. He's not frozen in the traditional sense like you might think of somebody being like stuck in an ice capsule, if you would describe it like that. So he's definitely frozen, if you could describe it as that. And he's also the focus of the map. He's narrating the trailers. He's also the person we're chasing after. In the intro cinematic, of course, we have our characters in a giant robot chasing after many Group 935 defectors with Tank in the back of the truck, and then they take him to the moon. And this is where people start to go, okay, Tank must be the Frozen One. We're in a map that's very snowy. He's unconscious in a pod. There's mountains everywhere. We're chasing after him, not necessarily searching for him, but we're going after him. And it could very well be. Tank could be the Frozen One. If I had to pick a leading candidate, I would say Tank is the Frozen One. But there's also some evidence that could argue that maybe he isn't the Frozen One. First things first, he's not the only one. The idea of the Frozen One points to a singular being, but as we see from Dr. Maxis's projections, he's not the only person in cryogenic slumber. We can see 4 other pods. Tank Dempsey is of course the most prominent of the 4 pods, but there's Nikolai, there's Takio, and there's also one whom we can't make out, unfortunately. So if there was going to be one Frozen One, what about the other 3? They seem like just as likely candidates. Where are their pods right now, and why aren't we concerned with them? And if the Frozen One is a singular entity, the idea that it would be somebody who is just like 3 other people doesn't point to the idea of singularity. We also don't really understand why we're chasing after Tank. Dr. Maxis has explicitly stated to us that the test subjects must not be woken up.
The test subjects can never be allowed to awaken. The havoc that could be wreaked upon the future by such simple-minded individuals could be catastrophic. Heed my warning.
Why are our characters chasing after Tank? Could it be that they were actually searching for Tank in the mountains, as well as several other Group 935 defectors? Unfortunately, the defectors found him first, and then that's why we were chasing after them. It could very well be. Or maybe Tank was actually found somewhere else. Maybe he was actually in the Giant, or maybe he was at Shinonuma, or maybe another research facility, possibly the island one that we've been hinted at. And he could have been there, and there could have just been this long chase to Der Eisendrache, where our crew is trying to get back Tank. Unfortunately, we don't have all the details between Der Eisendrache and the Giant. Maybe, though, this cipher actually gives us a little bit of a clue. What it's basically saying is, we're here because originally we were looking for Tank, and unfortunately, somebody beat him to us. That could also be the case. That would explain why we're there. That just doesn't explain why the other characters aren't as important, and maybe we'll discover that as we continue to work through the Easter egg. But we also need to consider that there could be other candidates. For example, Samantha. Samantha is asleep in cryogenic slumber. Her Easter egg on the map Moon was described as the cryogenic slumber party. In addition to that, we're also dealing with pyramids once again. There's a pyramid in Der Eisendrache, and our characters are on the Moon studying the MPD pyramid. So Samantha, to me, seems like an also likely candidate of somebody who could be frozen. We could also make the argument that a character whom we've never met is the frozen one. Now, I'm not a big fan of introducing new characters right now. I'd rather work with the ones that we have currently. But it's just as likely to say that a new character who we have not met is the frozen one, as much as we can say Tank Dempsey is the frozen one, because unfortunately, there isn't enough evidence. I would say right now, Tank is the leading candidate, but if we don't want to wake up Tank, why would we be chasing after him? Are we just trying to keep him out of the hands of Group 935? Are we trying to kill him? We don't exactly know, and unfortunately there aren't enough answers. Hopefully, though, as we complete the Easter egg and crack more ciphers, we can begin to look into things. I've listened to all the radios, I've studied the ciphers that we have cracked at the moment, and there has been no mention of the frozen one, which is interesting because we assumed he would be a focal point of the map. Tank is definitely a focal point, but he's also not been mentioned. Maybe it's a coincidence, or maybe that's actually something Treyarch is doing intentionally. We're going to have to wait and see, but hopefully as we continue to dig deeper into this map, we can discover it, and I can give you guys more information on this topic. And that's why I would recommend you subscribe to my channel for more videos about the storyline relating to Der Eisendrache and zombies in total. I try to cover it as best and as thoroughly as possible, and if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy the next one. I'm going to go, though. If you enjoyed it, like I said, maybe give it a like, possibly subscribe. Have a fantastic day, and bye.